YouTube as well. We're now on YouTube. So we're doing live events. We had a couple of weeks there where we couldn't do them. I apologize for that. I ended up with a lot of water issues here at the property. We also did a 5-day sports show, and it just takes me so long to get caught up, as well as having the water issues with flooding. I know a lot of the people around the country are having issues. Water sucks. I wish that it didn't happen. It's something I've dealt with on numerous occasions, but it's about all you can do. We've got Memphis here. She's decided she wants to be part of Dog Talk Live. Don't you, Memphis? So we'll bring her up. I apologize again. We missed a couple weeks. Memphis feels like she should have been on. Yeah, she, of course, loves me. And that she wanted to be on and that she wasn't able to be. So we apologize to little Memphis as well. We're going to actually see if Memphis will sit on a seat here. Sit down, Memphis. Let's put you on a chair. There you go. So you're not on my lap. So it is the time of year when we get our dogs in for training. And what I thought we'd do is we'll answer questions as always. And we'll also try to throw some questions out to you guys to see if you can help us build our Dog Talk Live time. Scarlett's here. She wants to check in. What do you think, Scarlett? Scarlett's got her. They're all rocking their St. Patty's Day stuff still. My wife puts bibs on the dogs, and they always have festive bibs. So we just got done with St. Patrick's Day. They did not get corned beef and cabbage. If you go on our website, we actually just, or on our Facebook channel, we actually just had a birthday party for Pickett. So it's always fun. Yes, Dennis, I have to wear reading glasses. I don't right now, though, because I don't have to wear reading glasses because my computer is so far away from me so I can read it. If you have questions, go ahead, put them up, everyone. What is cool is, please, when you pop in, let us know where you're from so that we can see, I guess, how big of our reach is. Last time we had Australia all the way to Scotland. I am thinking that we can outdo that this week. And hopefully we can answer some good questions, have some good conversations. My email, which I'm going to put up right now, get out of here, Scarlett, is, as I'm getting my dog bumping my arm and won't let me type, sportingdogtv@gmail.com. If you have questions that you are not comfortable asking when people are with everyone else online, go ahead and email me. We always get a couple after, and it's nice because we can answer your questions in a setting where it's comfortable for you. We got Tampa. We got Alaska. Let's see here. North Carolina. Again, we hit all parts of the U.S. and all parts of the world. With our Dog Talk. I guess the internet is an amazing thing. Again, we're also doing a YouTube live broadcast on this so that we hit that audience too. We're building our YouTube channel. We are building our Facebook video channel. Facebook, our video channel is Sporting Dog Adventures channel. It is where we're putting on our video content. The TV show will be off of Pursuit channel starting the end of June. And what we're going to do is we're going to still have season 9, but season 9 will be shorter episodes. We're going to be running somewhere in the neighborhood of, I would say 5 to 8 minute episodes, but have like 40 of them so that we've had all of these episodes out there for you, but on a digital platform. Carbon TV will be one of our huge platforms that we're on, and we're going to boost these so that we're getting almost the same viewership they are with TV, but again, shorter and more concise and more dog oriented so that we're really hitting the topics that are important to us, my family in the dog world, but important to you guys who are all dog enthusiasts as well. So if you have questions, go ahead and hit them up. Again, it is right now training season in Wisconsin. We are getting dogs in. We're working with dogs. We take 6 dogs in for gun dog training. I also have 3 dogs in for obedience training. It's always fun getting young dogs in because the expectations of people are honestly fairly low. They get their dog and they're drugged down the driveway by him because, oh my gosh, my dog doesn't listen. And it's kind of cool because we're then handing them back a dog that is a gun dog and ready to hunt. Not only that, but we will be also working on our lodge, Soggy Acre Signature Lodge, so that we can get things ready for the upcoming fall. High water, I know that's a problem everyone's dealing with. We have very, very high water here at our property in southern Wisconsin and our property in central Wisconsin. Hopefully, we are not forecasted to get a whole lot of rain, so everything will end up coming down. We actually have pumps running to move water off the property, or at least not off the property, but away from the house. And annoying, but when you have soggy acres as your name, I guess it's just something you deal with. So we got Jeter from California. If you guys, when you check in, please let us know where you're from. Also, put up any questions that you have. We will answer your questions as we go. If I don't get to questions or you're watching this after it's not live, go ahead and put the question up anyway because I check back for a few days just to make sure that we're hitting everything. I'm trying to think here. So let's talk about training. Let's talk about the dogs that we have in. And every week, what we'll do is we'll talk about what I'm working on this week. So the dogs have been here for just over 2 weeks. During the first couple of weeks, the first week is honestly just some light obedience and getting the dogs used to, for better explanation, not living on the couch with their family, and not putting so much pressure on them that they're like, oh my gosh, where am I? What happened? It's putting them in a position where I can teach them that they're here to learn, but that they also get to have fun. Training wise, I work with dogs twice a day, and we are looking at high intensity training where you're putting a lot of expectations, a lot of pressure on the dogs, but you're only working with them for about 15 minutes twice a day. I usually do 4 days that are high intensity, and then one day, which is always usually Friday. I call Fun Day Friday. If everything's gone good during the week, we still train, but we train in a way that is incredibly fun for the dogs with no pressure. As you develop your own training program, when you're doing training and you are working with dogs, it's finding out what works for you and what methods work best for the dogs. I always work with the dogs and try to be as fair as I can. I give them as much positive reinforcement as I can. And it is having the ability to know when a dog is under duress or when a dog is being obstinate so that you know how to correct the dog, as opposed to if it's a dog that's under stress, you're more punishing the dog. I hope that makes sense. Again, as you guys come in, go ahead and tell us where you're from. It's always cool for us. We've got Brienne Morel is from Western Michigan. Let's see. Jenny, how do I get my dog Trigger to stop bolting after the deer? He has his training collar on and it doesn't faze him. Jenny, what you need to do when you are in a high distraction type situation is actually turn the collar up. If that collar, you're at the top setting and it won't go higher, you need to get a different collar. Not all collars are created equal. Some collars burn hotter than others, or the correction is higher than others, would be the best way to explain it. I know there's a huge difference from one model to another. The collars with the highest correction that I've dealt with in the past are a dog trim model. I have, my goodness, I think I have probably 5 different collar models. I have a Garmin, I've got DT Systems, I've got Dog Trim, I've got Sport Dog, and I've got the Cabela's brand. They're all good collars, but some will have a higher range on them. But you also have to watch because their low range is a lot higher than the other collars too. So I would make sure that you're having the comment or the collar up high enough so that you can dissuade the dog from misbehaving and from bolting, because bolting is important. We don't want the dogs to run away. We don't want them to run into a roadway. We don't want them to run into danger. We want them to listen. So it's something you got to work with your dog. All right, Colin, what are your thoughts on Rex Speaks, the Googles for dogs? I have no idea what that is. If you can't put up a link for me, and I'll go check it out, and we can talk about it next time. It is it's something that there's a lot of stuff out there on the internet, and I don't always hit all of it, but I'm always interested to learn. Speak as clearly as I can so you can understand me in the UK. Carolyn, do you not speak English? Oh, wait. England and the UK is where English started, and I guess we speak funny. I will speak as clearly as possible. I don't have a huge accent, but I'm sure to you I do have an accent, so I apologize. If you do have questions, sportingdogtv@gmail.com is my email, and you can always hit me up there. Oh, cool. Portage La Prairie MB. Well, that's interesting. on where someone's from. Again, everyone, put up where you guys are from so that we can see where everyone's checking in from. We got Lyle from PA. Any advice on remote bird launchers, gunners up or zinger winger? I've used both. Both are quality, and a lot of times with wingers, it's making sure you have a good release. I know I have Tritronics releases, which would be Garmin now, and then it's making sure that you're doing maintenance on them, replacing the rubber bands on them, and having them so that they are set up. But they're a pretty simple product, and I don't have a huge preference one way or the other. All right, Jenny, if you have a Garmin, try turning it up higher next time you have the dog out. And I would always keep it on that level and start making your recall where the dog is getting hit with a higher correction no matter what you're doing so that the dog understands that it has to listen. Again, Jenny's issue was her dog is bolting when it runs after deer and she has a collar on him. So we need to increase the correction so that as the distractions level rise, we can help fix that. All right, so let's see. What is the transition time from trainer back to owner? Jeter Carr wants to know the transition time from trainer back to owner. Basically, with a good trainer, they're going to be working with the owner, explaining the dog, explaining pressure, explaining how your specific dog deals with pressure, and also teaching you how to handle and run your dog. This is when you're talking to trainers and trying to find someone to work with you with your dog, something that you need to work with them on so that you are in a position to succeed when you get your dog back. So there shouldn't be a huge transition. It's more of the dog respecting the owner once you get home with the dog, and you can take that a long ways by working with the dog with the trainer when the dog's in training, and then continuing working with the dog daily so that the dog learns to respect you as well. And it's not even where you're doing complex tasks where you're running out and you're working with the dog on a level that a trainer is, but at least take the dog out and do obedience. Sit, heel, hear. Make sure that the dog understands that it has to listen to you just like it listened to the trainer. You have dogs that go home all the time where a trainer does not help the person that's working with the dog or help the owner to work with the dog, and the dog will run great for the trainer, and then the owner takes it home and they have all sorts of problems. Sometimes I think that might be done on purpose because not all trainers are created equal, and trainers will think, hey, you know what, if they have problems, they're going to bring the dog back and make more money. But find someone that is going to work with you as well as the dog and teach you about training, about handling, and about your dog. Thoughts on prong collars from Brianne. I start all of my young dogs on prong or pinch collars. That is how I teach obedience. I used to use a regular standard choke collar, and someone told me, you know what, you should try these prong collars. And I'm like, gosh, they look so terrible. You know, they're kind of like scary looking. And I feel like it wouldn't be fair to the dog to put that on them. What I learned was that with a prong collar, you will have a dog that is obedient within several days of having it on. Where with a pinch collar, you have people that are constantly, a dog's 5, 6 years old and the dog is choking itself. So if it's something where the dog is being put in discomfort but not enough to make your point of obedience, is it more humane to fix an issue in 2 or 3 days or to have a dog do it for several years? I think the answer for me is clear. We use pinch collars here, and they're a great tool when used properly. Dennis Paulson from Iowa. His dog is steady to shot during training, but as soon as there are birds working and shots fired, he breaks. How do you fix that? Dennis, that is a common issue. It's something I struggle with my own dogs. It is, one way would be to have a collar on the dog so the dog can't leave the boat or the blind. Another way is you have to be a handler first and not a hunter and not even have a gun and only worry about running your dog. During training, if you can add birds in, one good trick I like to use that I'm going to use in a couple of my dogs because we had some breaking issues this year is you get a live bird, put the dog in a dog blind, put the live bird down in front of the dog blind and correct the dog when it tries to leave the blind. Sounds mean, but it is putting the dog in a position so that they have to adhere when distraction or excitement is at the greatest level. If you work with dogs, birds out of wingers, you can use that as well. Put the bird out or put the winger out at like 50 yards. You can do a live flyer where the bird's actually flying and someone shoots it. There's a lot of things you can do. Now, obviously, is the time of year when we fix our dogs as far as our training issues. And it's something that even with trainers like myself, it's no different. I have to fix my own dogs too. They get loose, they get wild, and they have stuff that needs to be corrected every year. And that is why you're never done training a dog. Hope that helps. All right, let's see the next question here. Kingston, Massachusetts. Hey, Ken, how are you? We got Diane from Ontario. That's cool. Let's see. Let's see, Andrew. Dennis, more live flyers. Andrew, thank you for the comment for Dennis. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Rex Specs goggles? Again, I don't know, Colin. We got to send a link over. Thank you very much. Start user pinch collar. Yeah, go ahead, Brianne. Use a pinch collar. Remember, though, with a pinch collar, it's a pinch collar, not a pull collar. So when you correct a dog with it, it's an abrupt snap for the correction. And the thought process in training a dog that I try to explain to all my clients, and you can ask any of them, I give them the same line, is when a baby is going to reach for a hot stove, you slap it so that it's a discomfort because you want them to pull their hand back. If all you did was tap it or give them a cookie, they would touch the hot stove. Think of it the same with your dogs. You have to correct them to a level where in their mind, in the dog's mind, they're going, wow, that really sucks. I don't want that to happen again. But you also need to give praise. Everyone is about here in their training, and you need to be way out past the screen out here where you've got positive and negative, and there's not enough of each when people are training. You want 80 to 90% to be a positive reinforcement. So when you have a dog that's doing a command like healing, you're telling the dog heel. You're not only telling them heel when they aren't listening, you're telling it while they are listening. Heel, good dog. Heel, good dog. Heel, good. If you have to correct them, then it's heel and a correction, whether it's pushing a button on a collar or snapping back on a lead. Dog sitting, sit, good dog. The dog can be sitting there for 5 minutes. I will continue to tell them sit and good dog and give them positive reinforcement. Again, so it's letting the dog make the decision when they are doing commands of they love it when I do this, they give me positive reinforcement, and wow, when I do that, it really sucks. So keep that in mind when you're working with dogs. Keep that in mind when you're setting up your training program and as you're going through your process. Our TV show is, again, going to be digitally only, and we are going to be on Carbon TV. We are going to be on Facebook. We've got our channel here, the Facebook Sporting Dogs Adventures channel on Facebook. We've got Instagram TV, and we've got our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/sportingdogadventurestv. Episodes 5 to 8 minutes. We're going to have at least 20 to 30 that are going to deal with just dogs. So we're going to have topics about puppies, older dogs, obedience dogs, training dogs, hunting handling. I actually have to write those up pretty soon because we're going to start filming as we get into probably April into maybe May. So we're going to be putting these out starting in the end of June and rolling through all the way through the end of the year. We're looking at 40 episodes on our show. The episodes will be, again, a lot more dog-based. They will be less sponsors, so we're able to really do a great job for our sponsors because we've made the decision that we aren't going to have as many sponsors on board. And it's also going to be a lot more from our properties here in Wisconsin. So it's going to be kind of cool where I don't have to travel as much. I don't have to live out of gas stations. I know everyone thinks it's like this great thing to go and travel and live on the road. It's not. After about 8 years, I'm really burned out on it. But I love giving people information about dogs, getting people involved in the sport I love, and talking to everyone about hunting. So again, if you have topics you'd like to have covered as well, go ahead and send me an email, sportingdogtv@gmail.com, and we'll even look at some of the topics as we're writing up our future training episodes and our different scenarios that we're going to cover during our TV show during season 9. All right, let's go back onto our questions. Chino Hills, California. All right, Colin, I'm going to look at that, what you're talking with rec specs for next time. So please remember, Colin Cape, to bring that back up. I will look at it after, I promise. Let's see, we got Sparky Carter, Charleston, South Carolina. At what age do you suggest starting training for a gun dog? So it's kind of Baited question. Training starts the day that you get a dog home when you start teaching them expectations. But what I call formal training, where you're going to start with your force fetched, trained retrieve, e-collar, your pinch collar training, at that point, I'm in the position where I start them after 6 months old. I do not take a dog out for hunting when they have not been trained. Dogs need to go through hunting first before they're out, or need to go through training first before they're out hunting, because otherwise you get a lot of bad habits. That is how we get gun shy dogs, dogs that break, dogs that have all sorts of issues. You never train a dog to hunt. Dogs are bred to hunt. If a dog is not bred to hunt and doesn't have drives, you are never going to get them to hunt. I take that back. You could maybe get them to be a weak waterfowl dog because you can force them to do stuff. But you will never get a dog that has drive that wants to do it. You can't put that in the dogs. That's why we buy good puppies with great pedigrees. We find the ability, and then what we do during our training is we teach them control, and we teach them that they hunt for us. So to give you an idea, my dogs here at our kennel, I go through about 6 weeks before I work on anything field related, because I want to have all of my control issues and training worked with by myself on the dog before we hit the field. Thought process behind it. And some guys will take them out and they'll work with them in the field on the same day that they're doing obedience. But I don't want to put a dog in a position to fail. I want to put them in a position to succeed. If I'm taking a dog that is not through mouth control, which is force fetch, not through e-collar training, and the dog's running like an idiot, and then I have to correct them in the field every time on stuff that I'm working on in the morning, it's untraining them on what I worked on in the morning, and two, it's going to give them, in my opinion, a bad attitude. So I start at 6 months old or older. The reason that it's 6 months is that's when a dog can take pressure, and that's when they have their adult. And it doesn't have to be at 6 months. We take them in anytime after 6 months. We get dogs in anywhere from 2 years all the way down to 6 months. Then it's working on your obedience and building your base in your training program, which is your obedience, your e-collar conditioning and reinforcement, and your trade retriever force fetch. Getting that done and then building up to where you're working in the field. So I hope that helps you there, Mr. Sparky. All right, guys, do you got more questions? Feel free to hit us up with more questions. Let us know where you're from. So far, we've got Canada, we've got the UK, we've got a lot of different places all around the U.S. as well as the world that are checking in. So please hit us up with where you're checking in with. I had someone that asked if there would be anyone on our Dog Talk Live that was from Iowa, Minnesota, or South Dakota. So I told them, I said, hey, I guarantee there will be someone from one of those states because there's always people well represented from all over. All right, Dennis, let's see here. Okay, my computer's not working, so I do apologize. Let's see. Dennis, why do silver labs get such a bad rap? Dennis, I try to stay out of that as much as possible, and that's probably why you put that in there. I look at it as people have a dog, and the dog is their dream. Now, I don't worry about the specifics of purebred or not, but if you are worried about that stuff, which if you're buying a dog, you should go to each breed's website. You could go to the Labrador Retriever Club, which is the founding club for Labrador Retrievers, and you can read up on their opinion on silver labs. They say that the color doesn't exist. They say that when they developed the breed and when the breed was founded, it wasn't there. As far as dogs, I will tell you that I look at a dog's pedigree or I look at a dog's ability. I've trained, one of my finest dogs I trained I called her Cow Dog. She was a part herding dog, part Labrador. And that dog was running blind retrieves and handling. You can get dogs to do a lot of things. The big thing I think that irritates a lot of people is with designer breeds, whether it's crossing one breed to another or certain colors in certain breeds, that these breeders are selling them as something special and something that they can make more money on, and they're not being truthful with people. So educate yourself when you're working toward buying a puppy. Go to the club that founded the breeds, which you can find them for all of them, and find out what the breed standard is. So you're making sure you're getting a good quality dog and that you're informed. If you decide to go outside of that, or you decide to go to the pound and get a dog that's a mutt, hey, you know what? I don't try to get too involved in the politics part of it because I think it's bad for our sport, because I want people to be involved and love hunting with dogs. And honestly, I don't care if it's a mixed breed or a purebred. As long as the dog has drive and the dog is well mannered, that is what is important so that people can enjoy the outdoors. Hope that answered it for you there, Dennis. All right, I'm trying to forward some questions here. Let's see. Would you approach training a spaniel any different than a retriever? Jack worked with spaniels. I actually train them the same. I didn't do the hup commands, which I know is a lot of different commands that people use for spaniels. I trained them like a retriever, but I found, at least with the dog I worked with, the dog worked great. I worked with a Springer Spaniel, and I've had a small Cocker Spaniel. The Cocker Spaniel, the biggest challenge I had, 20 to 25 pounds. It was very small. So it was interesting working with the dog with birds, but the guy wanted to do pheasants, so we did pheasants. So it was just having patience as the little dog drug the pheasant back to me, as opposed to carried it at times, depending on the size of the bird. So it was interesting to do, but I found that dog training, even when you look at labs, you have dogs that are able to take pressure and more stubborn than others. And the mark of a good dog trainer is someone that can read a dog and work with the dog within the dog's own realm. So if you need to be more patient and be more of a psychologist with the dog, you have to do that. If it's a dog that you can push, or that you have to be more collar heavy or correction heavy with, you can do that. I see it in my own lines. My dog Pickett, who just turned 11. If you guys want, go watch his birthday party. It's on our Sporting Dog Adventures channel page on Facebook. Pickett is a very lovey dog and wants to constantly lean on you and be loved. And it was a lot different training that dog as opposed to training my dog Rommel, who I was training at the same time. So there's a big difference in all dogs. So I hope that helps. Superior, Wisconsin checking in. Sacramento, California. Sweden's checking in. All right. Let's see. Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Thanks for the compliment. You threw me a hand grenade, and I hope I answered it well for you. Again, if you guys have questions that you don't want to ask here on our Dog Talk Live, go send me an email, sportingdogtv@gmail.com. I have it here in the comments. You're more than welcome to shoot me an email. We also have our Sporting Dog Adventures channel page here on Facebook. We're running this in YouTube Live. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/sportingdogadventurestv. And we will soon be putting out our different content from season 9. Only a couple months away. We're starting to work on it now. We did a neat series where we followed a litter, where I was putting up almost daily videos so that people could kind of live vicariously through me. That turned out really well. Our next litter is due in the kennel in April, and then I have another one due a few weeks after that. So we are going to follow all of our litters every day on our page, Sporting Dog Adventures channel, and run it through where you can watch these little guys grow from where they're born all the way to when they're big. So it's kind of a fun thing. Hoping that we're going to have a deal put together where we're going to have a live cam in our kennel and start showing you some live footage, a live feed for at least 8 hours a day out of the kennel, so that you can basically just watch them. I mean, heck, they got eagle cams, they got deer cams. Why not have a puppy cam? But that'll be something that will be neat. And it's just, yeah, it's the time of year that, as a dog breeder and trainer, it's busy but fun. We got all of our dogs in for training now. We run 3 months on our dogs, and then we put them through a gun dog program, and then we take another group of dogs in for 3 months after that. We only train gun dogs for about 6 months a year. We do also train obedience dogs year round, but it is something that is just cool and fun to have or to get involved in. Let's see what we got for comments here. And I do apologize, guys. If you have comments on YouTube, go ahead and put them up, and I will figure out a way to answer them. I have yet to get a comment on there, but I'm sure I can figure it out. Let's see. Trying to train 2 GSP pups at once. can, train them separately. Wherever you're training two dogs, you want to train stuff separately so that you are working with them by themselves. Otherwise, dogs will become too codependent, too distracted. It's just easier when you work with them separately. Bond, Wisconsin, used to have a cabin up near Wabeno. My family actually found in Townsend, so I went through Bondwell, I don't know how many times in my life. They are so different, and it's getting tough. Yeah, again, dogs are tough to work with, especially when there's multiples. You have to question your sanity at times, but work with them separately so that you can work with each dog on their issues. If you put dogs together and try to work with them at the same time, you're going to run into issues that maybe one dog is getting from watching the other dog. So just separate them out, even if it's frustrating for you and you're having a tough go. Work with one and then take a break and then work with another. When I have dogs out in the kennel, I'll actually take them. I will work with the dogs. I'll get through, I have 9 dogs in right now, 3 obedience and 6 gun dogs. And I will actually, at every 3 dogs, I take a break. I go and read a sports article on Bleacher Report. There's your plug for Bleacher Report. I like to relax and keep my wits about me, because you can get frustrated with them. I mean, they're dogs. It's like their job is to irritate you, just like kids if you're parents. And it's nice when you have a little bit of ability to, I guess, decompress and then start. And then I do my next 3 dogs, then I rest, and then I do my next 3 dogs after that. So that would be if you're dealing with multiple dogs, you can always take a break. Catherine Gray is from Bear City, California. Welcome. All right. And trying to get this to forward. Rose Rain. I was told by Brian individuals some time ago that if you have a dog that you hunt with, you cannot dual use them for field trials. What is my opinion? Rose asked, she has a dog that she's going to run on hunt tests. Can you not hunt them? I hunt all of my dogs that I run in competition. If you're running field trials, you're probably best just to stick with that. But as far as hunt tests, the hunt test is set up so it's a hunting scenario. Obviously, it's not necessarily a hunting scenario, but at least the marks aren't as long. When you're running field trials in retrievers, you're talking 300 to 400 yard marks. So then if you're hunting them for a whole fall, you're going to be they're going to pull up short when they go back to training. Can you fix it? Absolutely. I mean, I don't have dogs to run a competition. I have dogs for my breeding program and my personal dogs to enjoy them. So